Well, greetings YouTube, LMS Tactical here. I hope everybody's doing good. This is more than likely going to be a long video, so just if you don't have time, bookmark it and come back later or watch it in increments. I'm just going to go right into it and let's see what flows off the top of my head. One of the subjects I have not talked about is the Pizzagate, Pedogate, all of the pedophilia shit that goes on in Washington D.C. and Hollywood specifically. Of course, it goes on worldwide. But if for some reason there's somebody out there that has no idea what Pizzagate is, don't feel bad. We all live very busy lives, and not all of us have time to sit around and watch the news and read things and watch YouTube videos. I get that. But at least after you watch this, if you haven't, do a Google on Pizzagate, go on YouTube, you're on YouTube, put in the search Pizzagate and just brace yourself and make sure you have an air sickness bag or 3 sitting next to you. In short, it has to do with some of the things that, and I'm not completely knowledgeable on it. I kind of I've stayed away from it for a reason. I mean, it's a heavy topic. It's about as low as you can go in terms of digging through an outhouse looking for evidence. But it's so important that it needs to be talked about. Now, other people, and I'm going to get to that in a second, that are much more well versed in it and much more well spoken than I am, have tackled this subject. I'm going to refer to you one of them. And so this is not going to be the end all be all. This is just sort of a LMS tactical video. We've talked about before that my belief of, or my definition of tactics go far beyond, fist fights and gun fights and knife fights. They deal with everyday life. And let's face it, a lot of us either have children or have relatives that have children, or are just good human beings that care about other human beings. And, if you subscribe to this channel, 99% of you are going to be conservative at heart. And there's a lot of reasons why, and the reason I connect the conservative part of it is because that means that we see Hollywood and the Hollywood elitist in sort of a negative light for various reasons. I want to focus on this Pizzagate thing, though, and basically, in a nutshell, Pizzagate has to do with some of the things, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that were leaked on some of the WikiLeaks that some savvy viewers were able to ferret out some coded or not, some basic coded language that is used in the pedophilia world. Pizza and hot dogs and different things like that. I know it sounds very basic, but if used in certain ways and in certain context, these are sort of an in-your-face signal to other pedophiles that, hey, I'm on board with the program. Something like that. But the bottom line was, through all of that, there's a place called Epstein Island, and I can't cover the whole subject. I want to get into some other specifics about it in a second, but Epstein Island is supposed to be this island that's out, I don't know, man, out somewhere off of between Cuba and Haiti and in that region, that the Bahamas, I guess. I'm not too familiar with the geography there, but this is like some guy by the name of whatever Epstein. I don't know his first name. I'm very bad with names. Some multi-gazillionaire pedophile that has this huge island, I don't know, 75 something acres or more, with dungeons and underground caverns, with abducted children from all over the place, and there's devil worshipping, things that involve animal and human sacrifice, snuff films made, which is where you're basically killing people on film as part of some weird sexual thing. It's very hard to talk about because, we're talking about like the lowest of the low, and it's very upsetting. Not to be melodramatic, but I mean, when I'm a visual person, so when I talk, I don't just say snuff film. When I say it, I see it in my head, and I'm like, oh God, I can just imagine this shit going on. Okay, so that's Pizzagate in an absolute broken up, crushed up nutshell. What I want to talk about is, and hopefully most of you are aware of more than even I am. I'll start off with this and write this down in case you don't know who this guy is. There's a guy with a channel on YouTube, and I honestly don't like a lot of what he says. I absolutely love how he says it. And what I mean by that is, this dude's probably one of the more articulate people I think I've ever heard, certainly on YouTube. And, I've spoken to audiences all over the country and the world on various topics, live audiences. And this guy he knows how to talk, and he's no dummy. He knows what he's talking about, he knows how to make a point. He believes in what he's saying. I think he's not real fair in terms of using a broad brush sometimes to paint cops and whatnot, but you know, he'll throw in a defense thing every now and again. Hey man, I'm not saying all cops are bad, but the inference is that all but one are fucked up. So I'm gonna take that a little personal. Thank God I'm the only one that's not, but just kidding. But high impact vlogs, all one word. High impact vlogs with a V like Victor. You gotta check this guy out, and he does a video on this topic. I should remember the name, but I believe it's one of his newer videos. Just do a search on his channel for Pizzagate. It's the best video on the topic I've seen, and there's probably 5 billion videos out there on it. So, not downing anyone else that's done videos on it, because there's some really good ones, and I probably should list them all out, but just dive into that rabbit hole and bookmark these things. And when you find one that's good, whether it's this one or certainly the high impact vlogs guy, send those out. I pumped it out onto Twitter, onto Instagram. I haven't done Instagram yet. I'm rebuilding my LMS Tactical Instagram site. I had taken it down and deleted everything, and so I'm starting over. I think I'm up to I don't know, man, 150 subscribers. So, it's a slow process. Check it out if you're an Instagram person. It's more basically advertising for this channel, but I got some cool pictures, and I do a lot of fun edits and shit. Pizzagate. So what I wanted to talk about was where we are at with this, and just how serious and how dangerous this is. Those that know who I am know that I retired from the Los Angeles Police Department. Well, the last division that I worked in as a training officer, as a field training officer, was Hollywood Division. And I first got to Hollywood in 1988. And there's going to be a lot of mixed information in this video, so just take what you need and what you can out of it. Here comes one little gem that may or may not be new to you. Hollywood is an absolute cesspool. I want you to implant that in your head right now. In spite of anything you might have heard or thought, or you might think, or you were duped into believing, Hollywood is a cesspool. By every stretch of the definition of cesspool. It's a cesspool physically. It's a dirty, slimy city, little town there. It's just shitty. It's completely rampant with drug dealers, gang activity, crimes, every kind of crime you can think of. It draws flies like a giant turd. And that's what it is. And if that breaks anybody's heart, I apologize, but that's just the truth. I was born and raised in California, and even I had fallen into not having been to Hollywood a whole lot, but you always, Hollywood's part of the California thing. And when you get there, especially when you get there as a cop, and you start to go into these behind the scenes, for most people, scenarios. I could list off a million celebrities that I've been in their homes, and believe me, when the police go to your home, it's not because something good's happening. Now, we all have bad things happen, and, I'm not saying that everybody that needs the police is fucked up, but these are some scummy people, man. I can tell you, I've seen, and we're talking in the upper echelons. Basically Hollywood is laid out where west is the beach, east is, L.A., south, of course, is South LA, and north gets into the valley. Well, in the little square of Hollywood, you got oh God, what's the name of the street? Franklin. Franklin is a street that runs east and west through Hollywood. Everything north of Franklin, for the most part, as you go kind of west of, I don't know, man, west of Highland, or west of Bronson, let's say. Everything west, and then north. You start to get up into the expensive areas where, and this is what you see in the movies when you got all the Hollywood elitists looking out over their views of all the lights of the unwashed masses down below. These are like multi-million-dollar homes, and like where Madonna lived in a Madonna's house, and on and on and on. In these homes, I cannot tell you the shit that I've seen. Dungeons. Now, I mean, I don't knock people for having sexual fetishes. It's one of the best kept secrets on the face of the earth is that I'm kind of a kinky dude myself. Zing. But I mean, in all honesty, there's nothing wrong with I keep it between my wife and I. But there's nothing wrong with having a robust sex life. And there's nothing wrong with being a prude. I mean, if that's what floats your boat and that's what gets you through, that's great. And my point is I'm not some guy that's going to judge somebody because, they want to, tie each other up or something. I don't do that. But, if that's their thing, I'm not like a major judger of that. But these people have some, I mean, full blown sex dungeons with torture devices and holes in the ground. It's insane. I mean, if you saw it, you wouldn't believe it. And I guess none of it shocked me because I'm not naive, but it's the people that are involved are constantly these people that are either dying of overdose or committing suicide or cutting themselves or having to go to rehab. What are they hiding? They're hiding. Everything is fake in Hollywood. It's an alternate reality. And when you think about these Hollywood people, and I'm going to tie this into Pizzagate and politics in a second. But when you think about the Hollywood elitist, it's easy to say that. Hollywood elitists, oh, they got money, they're elites, they think they're better than us. That's all true. But they actually grow up in an environment that is predicated on fantasy. Nothing is real. There's nothing real about these people. And imagine now, I'm empathizing with, I can empathize with them in the sense that imagine these people that started off as childhood stars, and I know a few of them and have interacted with a lot of them in terms of being a cop. These people are the most pathetic because if you're brought up in a situation like this, it's very easy to have the lines of reality completely distorted to the point where you don't even know what the fuck reality is anymore. I'm not making excuses for these people, but I'm saying that they're not like you and I in layman's terms. These ain't like us. I'm gonna make that very clear. So they make their money pretending to be things that they are not and probably could never be. Some of the most just as because I happen to be kind of a pro-police guy, some of the most anti-cop people in the Hollywood community, play cops on their movies, and they make millions and billions and who knows how much by pretending to be cop. But they wouldn't be able to be a cop for 10 minutes. They wouldn't last. They either get killed or they'd end up being arrested. And I'm sure the same probably goes with people that play airline pilots and doctors and everything else. But they live in this fantasy world where everybody takes each other serious and they start to take themselves serious. And they have no clue about reality. And so they're very ripe to get sucked into weird shit, especially when it comes to ego and power. And that's kind of where I'm going with this. And it'll tie into the DC crowd too. The old thing, absolute, I fuck everything up, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. Power is, and this is not a profound observation, it's just an observation, but power is one of the most dangerous and addictive and destructive things or entities or concepts that exists within any kind of a community, whether it's a community of 5 or 5 billion people that are in charge. They don't see themselves the same as the people that they're in charge of. They just don't, That starts off at early power levels, when you're in the Army, once you get your E5 stripes, you're a sergeant, you don't see yourself the same as these guys down below you. It's just a natural thing, I mean, there's people that may argue with me, but I'm talking about on a very very deep level, when you fall into formation, you ain't the same as the Joes that are sitting there with 3 stripes or less. It's just the way it is. And you magnify that by power, stripes, rank, income. Imagine the power to run a city, a town, a library, a state. You're the mayor. Or how about, my God, the President of the United States, or the head of the FBI, or the second in command of the CIA. This is your powerful positions. And that makes them very vulnerable to fall victim to themselves. And that's what happens a lot of times. All of that is tied into this insane amount and this national and worldwide epidemic, a pandemic of child abduction and trafficking, sex trafficking, and this pedophile or pedophilia bullshit that goes on all the time while we fund these activities. I mean, do you realize this is kind of my point? I mean, do you see how guilty we all are? If you go to a theater and you pay to see any of these fucking scumbags from Hollywood, you are funding their pedophilia and keeping the business alive. Now, these people are going to fall because of great things like Q and different people that are working and risking everything to expose these scumbags. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, and I'll leave that for you to discover on your own, so that this is not a 6-hour video. But these people are going to fall. And when I talk about these people, I'm not just talking about these Hollywood people and these directors and these nasty motherfuckers. I'm talking about high people like Hillary Clinton. I mean, now I've heard, and you'll see reports that she's into everything from cannibalism to you name it. Her and her girlfriend, what's the girlfriend that was married to the wiener dude? Uma, whatever. I've lived long enough to now to not scoff at the idea of fucking Hillary Clinton gnawing on some fucking kid's calf. I that's not hard for me to believe anymore. Does that mean I believe it just right the minute somebody says it? Of course not. In the comments on these videos, you'll hear everything. I mean, I was shocked and, not surprised, but, one of the first comments was, oh, they're all Jewish too. It's some fucking Jews. People just want to fucking bring in Jews into every motherfucking problem. And, having lost a lot of my family in the Holocaust, I take that personal. I am not Jewish by choice. I'm a Christian. That's a Christian cross on my arm. But nevertheless, I would be rounded up by Hitler's people because I got the Jewish blood running through my veins. So, for all you Jew haters, fuck off. Nobody once has ever been able to articulate why they hate Jews. They just come up with these broad brush bullshit. But that's another fucking video. And I think I did a video and it was called something like, Why Do We Hate Jews? Or some bullshit. That was a long time ago. But what's interesting about some of these videos I want you to go check out are some of the hidden and plain sight things. You remember some of these TV shows? Full House was one of them. The other one was that Tom Hanks movie, Big. Now, it's funny because I hate Tom Hanks. And I started off hating a lot of these people because of their politics, like Tom Hanks. I thought, my God, I love this guy. This guy was a great actor, and I loved Saving Private Ryan. And then when he turned into this fucking anti-Trump dude, I just was like, hey, fuck Tom Hanks. Well, now I find out, and I'm convinced that he's part of this whole Pizzagate thing. And when you look back in history at movies like Big, go back and look at some of the scenes in there, they made you feel a little bit creepy. They were like, it's like pedophilia right in front of you, and all kinds of signs right in front of you that you just ignore because we're not wired to think that way. So we don't see it, but other pedophiles see it. Now, once it's pointed out to you, it's like that extra hand in the painting of the Last Supper. You don't know it's there until you see it. You don't realize that God, what was it? There was another one at the Last Supper. The guy, who is it? The person to the right of Jesus in the painting of the Last Supper. It looks like Mary Magdalene, but if you don't think about it, you don't see it. Now go Google it and look at it, and you're like, holy shit, that's a woman. Anyways, there's a lot of things, a lot of ways to disguise shit right in front of us, and these movies, and there are people that break down how coaching, people like what's the guy on the Titanic? I'm terrible with names. Come on, man. I keep wanting to say Macaulay Culkin. It's not him. It's come on, Titanic dude. Come on. The guy, what the fuck? Whatever. It's gonna piss me off because I'll think of it in a few seconds. But that dude, the star of the Titanic, you know, the guy that was his voice coach or his acting coach is a convicted pedophile. Look it up. I mean, it's all right there. He's convicted of I think was convicted of sending out pornography, possessing pornography, purchasing pornography, whatever. The guy is, and it's all about child pornography, by the way, not just pornography, child pornography. The guy's a fucking pedophile. And he's a convicted one, but Hollywood hires him right back up again, where if, you had an arrest for fucking, drunk in public, nobody'd hire you. But these motherfuckers just keep taking care of each other. Now, I thought I saw an interesting back and forth on YouTube about this. Somebody had said something like, well, why don't they, where's the evidence of this, that Tom Hanks is, by the way, Tom Hanks is there's pictures of him with all these known pedophiles, and it's not just Tom Hanks, it's everybody that's anybody. Somebody said, well, why don't they, where's the evidence? And the evidence is, as somebody pointed out, the fact that there's no lawsuits. These people are being called out in public. They're being called out as known pedophiles. People that fly along with Hillary and Bill Clinton and all these other assholes and fucking Anthony Weiner and his wife to this fucking sex pervert island out there. Not one of them sues. And why would they not? Why would they not sue? Because if you sue somebody, all this shit's going to come out as evidence. And you're going to be horse-fucked in public. And the time is coming where there's going to be a fucking public lynching, man. You're going to see, these motherfuckers ought to be worried. And if they're not, they're stupider than I thought, because their days are numbered, man. This is not a threat. This is just common sense. When the village starts to realize that there's a fucking perverted cancer running around and through their villagers that's fucking with the kids, people get hurt. Rightfully so. About ready to wrap this up, but I was going to say another one. I remember, because I'm slow. It takes me a while to get there sometimes. And I remember, I was a very big Robert De Niro fan. And I remember thinking, this is like one squared away fucking dude. And when Robert De Niro started blasting out these anti-Trump insanity fucking rants, something was weird about it. It was not only did I think, oh fuck, I guess I'm not a big De Niro fan anymore, but there was something weird about it. Well, there's a lot of evidence that old fucking pretty boy De Niro once was a pretty boy, I guess, an ugly fucker now, but he's involved in that shit too. And when you think about it, of course they're gonna fucking reach out and fucking strike out as hard as they can at somebody like President Trump. When President Trump talks about draining the swamp, he's talking about draining the fucking swamp. Because the swamp of DC has a direct fucking channel right to the swamp of Hollywood. Because the power that the motherfuckers out in the West Coast have in terms of money and access to young people and the grooming and all of the shit that goes on in this nastiness exists 45 miles from where I'm at in DC. It exists right there too. Because you have powerful people that go to parties where their laws don't apply, the rules don't apply. Look at all the perversion that we know about that leaks out with Weiner showing his wiener and all this other insanity and all this other shit on all sides of the aisle. It's not a Republican Democrat thing. It's a nasty fucking gutter swamp motherfucking thing that's got to be cleaned up. And Trump represents a huge threat to these people. They operated without any repercussions. If Hillary Clinton had been president, think about it. What would have happened if she would have been the president? I mean, that fucking bitch, man. If someday, probably long after I'm dead, when the world finds out how many people were slaughtered at her command, it's going to be amazing. And like I said, I got no problem at all picturing her fucking chomping on dead kids, or live ones for that matter. She's fucking evil, man, incarnate. And so is this cocksucker De Niro too. Fuck you, Robert De Niro, and all of you Hollywood elitist pigs. And the very few people that might not be involved are the ones that are blackballed by Hollywood. Guys like Clint Eastwood and those kind of people. But when you think about it, I mean, most of us are so busy working and we're so busy living that when we come home and we want to watch a fucking movie, we just turn on the movie and we look at the plot and we enjoy ourselves and we eat our popcorn and we forget for a moment that we got ditches to dig and fucking budgets to do and we got to hire 10 more people, or I'm having trouble with my coworker, because that's how we live, and that's the way it should be. But when you stop and think about that world of glitter and how they give themselves awards and this big self-masturbatory shit that takes place with these fucking global fucking awards, and how they fucking have totally entwined and become political, as though these court jesters, these clowns that 1,000 years ago were there to make the king giggle, and now they're entertaining us. But they somehow are involving themselves in the political world, I think every day about blowing up the White House, quote from Madonna. These motherfuckers, man, they're nasty and they're dangerous, and they are the enemy. And any one of us that supports them is it's just like shipping money to fucking Iran to buy missiles to kill Americans. If you fucking pay for any movies at all, I mean, boycotting their movie, you may say, well, that's not going to matter if I don't watch a movie. It's like when I quit Netflix because of their fucking politics and their bullshit, and Obama and all these people that got involved with Netflix. I loved the layout of Netflix. I loved watching the documentaries. And I'm fucking around and dicking around watching foreign movies and shit now. Yeah, you give up a little bit, but God damn it, right is right. And to say that it doesn't matter is like telling somebody that, what's my vote count? I'm not, I don't vote because I'm just one dude. It doesn't count. Man, you got a motherfucking obligation to get in the fight. If you're fucking paralyzed from the upper lip down and you're in a fucking wheelchair for the rest of your life, you can still fight this fight against evil and pedophilia and child kidnapping and rapes and fucking nasty people running our country and trying to take over the world and telling us that fucking, we can pick our own gender, and teaching our children that fucking, if you feel like a girl today, Bobby, it's perfectly fine, and fucking up the minds of our kids and fucking up the whole world. You can fight it, you in the wheelchair that can't move, by just forwarding videos to other people, as large a groups as you can find, man. Put them on your Facebook page, and if people don't like it, fuck them. They're part of the problem, either by choice or by ignorance. Do you have a Twitter account? Get one. Because Twitter is a way to talk to massive groups of people with one click. It takes a long time to build up a fucking following, but just do it. Work on it. Do you have an Instagram? Quit showing pictures of your tits and start showing fucking links to videos that matter, and evidence and pictures, and fucking, we all have access to the great Alexandria library of thousands of years ago, and it's called the internet, and there's no excuse for us not to be spreading these truths around. And if people don't want to hear it, fuck them. You just keep shoving it down their throat. You can send videos to your representatives. I wouldn't send any of mine because obviously I'm not a very well-spoken dude, and fuck is a normal word for me. But there are people that make videos where they don't use any expletives, and they're very well done, and they have graphics and everything. But get involved in this goddamn fight, man, because we can't sit back and hope that President Trump drains the fucking swamp. We got to get fucking wet and get dirty too. So you guys on board with that? What do you think? I think I know what you think, man. Hope you guys are doing good. LMS Tactical. I'm out. Don't forget to go check that dude out. What the fuck was his name? What the fuck was it? God, my short-term memory. High Impact Vlogs. Go check him out and let me know what you think. And by the way, if you subscribe to him, tell him for sure tell him, because him and I have gone back and forth a little bit. Tell him that LMS Tactical sent you, and that'll spin his head a little bit. All right, you guys, stay safe. LMS Tactical, I'm out.